Not yet. I'll figure it out.
Give it a shot.
Good.
So we got all the groomsmen here. Oh, he's my.
Don't say anything bad.
Be fine.
Thank you so much. That happened your meeting after. So you're going to be right over here by Dave? Yeah. And then everyone's going to line up here. Thank you so much. Dave. David, thank you.
That's right. Did I give everybody this time?
Yes.
Thanks.
I think another Abbie's dad, I think, lost my brother.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
You ever take like 2 or 3 puffs of CSAP?
We're about to begin. The doors should be
What? Where the album?
That's right. Right marker.
Sometimes that happens. What are we doing? I walk in there.
Am I gonna get a kiss or a hug? What do you want?
I'll go to mom first.
Yeah, then what do you want from me? Oh, okay.
How bad do they look? Like we're really close.
Yeah.
It says Molly's.
And it sounds like
Oh my god.
I'm gonna cry. Should I wear my glasses? They can see me cry. I'm gonna cry. But yeah. I cry.
You ready? 3, 1, 2, 3, big smile down the back.
It's in the.
1, 2,
That's why this walkway so much shorter than Kristen's.
Ready with the left foot. It's important. Everybody notices that.
We have to hold him up.
Come to the. Stay here 1 second. I got you, don't worry. You ready? Right after that.
So,
Okay, big smile down.
they should be playing A Million Dreams. What song are they playing? A Million Dreams. What are they playing for you?
This way, right?
I'll show you they am. And don't hit me. How beautiful. And then a mute song to exit. Which, the guitarist, this guitarist is in a Styx tribute band. Traveling. Don't stand up straight like that. Not so obvious. Just bend it a little like this. Knees. Like this. If you go like this. That hurts. In retrospect, we should have done the Bridesmaids as single. What's that? We should have done them singly so that it would have taken longer. Oh, I don't know why you didn't match them up with the guys. What? The guys? No, what do you mean? The groomsmen without. The groomsmen without. I'll tell you later. Tie's good. I mean, perfect. That's good. Perfect.
Stems and you're perfect. Do you want your feet centered? It's all centered. Now you're settled. There you go. You ready? Big beautiful smile. We're going to go down to 3, 1, 2, 3. There we go, babies. Ready? What's going to happen is you're going to be half a step in front. This way you're leading down the aisle. Perfect. Excellent. There you go.
Thank you. Left foot first.
Nice and slow. Nice big smile. Don't be taking pictures as you're coming down, okay? Here we go. So on the count of 3, start with the right foot for Mazel. 1, 2, 3. There you go.
Zehayom asa Adonai nagila v'nismachavo. This is the day Adonai has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Abbie and Josh are so grateful that you are all here this day in this sacred space at this sacred moment in their lives and the life, of course, of their families. They ask that we all remain focused and truly present for this time while they stand beneath the chuppah. And therefore, I will graciously request on their behalf that you all turn off your cell phones. We don't want to be interrupted by phone calls or texts. And they ask as well that you not take your own photos and rely on their professional photographers who are doing a wonderful job already. So we thank you. They thank you. There is a tradition in Judaism of the bride circling around the groom as this ceremony begins. And so as Abbie follows this custom, I share these words of blessing with each circle. May we be loving and generous with one another. May we find strength to face life's challenges. May we seek balance in our lives and harmony in our home. May we always nurture each other's passions. May we see beauty in all places and all people. May our lives be founded on truth and commitment to justice. May we be fully present to each other and to the wonder of life. Baruch haba b'shem Adonai, may you who are here be blessed in the name of Adonai. Bruchim habaim, may all of us be blessed. We bless you from this house of the Lord. Mi adir al hakol, mi baruch al hakol, mi gadol al hakol, hu yivarech et hachatan v'hakala. May God, who is supreme in power, blessing, and glory, bless this bridegroom and this bride. Mishaberach Avotenu ve'imotenu, our God, God of our mothers and fathers, we ask your sweetest blessings this day on Abbie and Josh as they unite their lives in your name. Cause them to prosper in their life together. Teach them to share life's joy and life's trials and to grow in understanding and devotion. May love and companionship flourish in the home they establish. May they grow old together in good health and contentment, ever grateful to you for the union of their lives. In a moment, we will offer the words of the Kiddush, the first blessing over the wine. And a little later in the ceremony, a second time. The reason we bless the wine twice is that we are actually fulfilling two ceremonies according to Jewish tradition. It is the betrothal, when families would be together at the time of the engagement and have a Kiddush. And then months would pass for the actual time under the chuppah. I think we can assume that you don't want to wait longer, that we've changed the date enough times. And so today, this afternoon, we will observe the tradition of betrothal with the first Kiddush, and a little later, the second Kiddush. Indeed, the bride and groom have chosen to share this first Kiddush with their four parents standing right beside them. Indeed, though you are adults, you are still their children. And just as they have accompanied you this day, I know they have each accompanied you on life's journey. And so how fitting that we share this with them. And so, the magic cup. If you've never seen this, later you should really take a look. You pour one Kiddush cup into a little vessel and it fills 6 glasses. I don't know, it's marvelous. I'm going to hand 1 cup to each. It's also very COVID friendly, so everybody gets their own cup. At this moment of betrothal, we pray with them. O merciful God, God of love, you have created for the soul another soul to sympathize with, for the heart another heart to beat like it. Grant that I have chosen a loving and noble being. Bless my choice, they pray, O God, so that there may proceed from the union of our hearts and minds joys without number. And as we each of you, the 6 of you, lift your Kiddush cup. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen. At this time, Abbie and Josh, I'm going to ask you to declare, really to answer these questions. Josh, I ask you before this love and community, do you take Abbie to be your wife?
I do.
Do you promise to love, cherish, and protect her, whether in good fortune or adversity, to seek with her a life hallowed by the faith of Israel?
I do.
And Abbie, do you take Josh to be your husband? Do you promise? She said yes. I do. Very quiet. Do you promise to love, cherish, and protect him, whether in good fortune or adversity, and to seek with him a life hallowed by the faith of Israel?
I do.
In keeping with the vows you have made, we're going to have you exchange rings. So I am going to ask Nathan for the rings. And Josh, I'm going to give you that special ring. And as you place the ring on, you can place it on. Yep. Repeat these words after me. Harei at.
Harei at.
Mekudeshet li.
Mekudeshet li.
B'taba'at zo.
B'taba'at zo.
Kedat Moshe.
Kedat Moshe.
V'Yisrael.
V'Yisrael.
With this ring.
With this ring.
Be consecrated to me.
Be consecrated to me.
As my wife.
As my wife.
According to the law of Moses.
According to the law of Moses.
And the faith of Israel.
And the faith of Israel.
And Abbie, as you put the ring on your groom's finger, Harei atah.
Harei atah.
Mikudash li.
Mekudash li.
B'taba'at zo.
B'taba'at zo.
Kedat Moshe.
Kedat Moshe.
V'Yisrael.
V'Yisrael.
With this ring.
With this ring.
Be consecrated to me.
Be consecrated to me.
As my husband.
As my husband.
According to the law of Moses.
According to the law of Moses.
And the faith of Israel.
And the faith of Israel.
A few minutes before we gathered here as a larger community, a smaller group of us gathered to sign both the state license and the ketubah. And I'm going to actually grab the ketubah. The ketubah is the Jewish marriage license that goes along with our state license. And though two witnesses have signed this along with the bride and groom and myself, we are all really witnesses to this ceremony. And so I share with you just a few words from their marriage contract that they are vowing to one another. Before God, family, and friends, we declare on the first day of the week, the third day of the month of Kislev, in the year 5782, corresponding to the 7th day of November in the year 2021, the bride Abigail Pauline Weinberg and the groom Joshua Darren Steinbrook stood under the wedding canopy in Manhasset, New York, to enter the holy covenant of marriage with love and reverence they declared. With these rings we consecrate ourselves in marriage according to the traditions of Moses and the laws of Israel. We promise to be equal partners, loving friends, We shall share in each other's dreams while not forgetting our own, and encourage and support each other in reaching their fullest potential. And it continues a bit, and then it says at the bottom, we sign our names to this ketubah of our own free will, and will be bound by this holy covenant for all our days. Set me as a seal upon your heart. We now continue with the Sheva Brachot, just as we started the ceremony with 7 circles and 7 blessings. We continue with another set of 7 blessings. The first of the 7 is once again the Kiddush, and this time, Josh and Abbie, you will be the only ones to share in it as I share the words both in Hebrew and in English of the Sheva Brachot, the 7 blessings. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Blessed are you, God, source of the world, who creates fruit of the vine. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol bara lichvodo. Blessed are you, God, light of life, who created everything for your glory. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer ha'adam. Blessed are you, God, spirit of all things, who has created the human being. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher yatzar et ha'adam b'tzelmo. B'tselem demut tavnito, Baruch atah Adonai yotzer ha'adam. Blessed are you, God, foundation of every life, who fashioned humanity in your likeness and prepared for us a shape and a form in your image, from one generation to the next and for all eternity. Blessed are you, God, who has created human beings. Sos tasis v'tagel ha'akera, Baruch atah Adonai misamek Tzion b'vaneha. Zion will surely celebrate and exult in the coming together of her children. Blessed are you, God, who brings joy to Zion through her children. Sameach tisamach re'im ha'ahuvim, Baruch atah Adonai misameach hatan v'kala. Give pleasure to these beloved companions as you did to your creation in the Garden of Eden so very long ago. Blessed are you, God, who makes the hearts of this couple rejoice. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bara sason v'simcha chatan v'kala gila rina ditza v'chedva ahava v'achva v'shalom v'reut Baruch atah Adonai misamech chatan im hakala. Blessed are you, God, source of the universe, who has created each of these 2 people, their delight and their happiness, their rejoicing and singing, their dancing and festivity, love and friendship, peace and pleasure. O God, may the voices of this celebration be heard in the streets of our cities and the hills of our countryside. May the words of this couple go out with gladness from this wedding chuppah, and may the music of their friends and guests surround them. Blessed are you, God, who brings joy to the hearts of couples. Josh and Abbie, in the traditional cycle of Torah readings, we find ourselves in the 28th chapter of Genesis, in a portion called Vayetze. The verses begin, Vayetze Yaakov, Jacob set out from Beersheba to Haran. The distance between these 2 cities is some 450 miles. One can only imagine how many steps it took and how many days it took for Jacob to arrive in a new place on the map and a new stage in his life. Though most of us would not choose actually to walk that many miles, our lives, like those of our ancestors, are also made up of individual steps and stages, all leading us to this precious moment and space. My own journey to this chuppah began many, many steps and stages and years ago. Steps which took me miles away and which have actually returned me to this very place. Many of you know that I have known the generations of the Weinberg family for nearly 3 decades. But in fact, my story begins a little bit before that. For when I applied to become a rabbi at Hebrew Union College, Jewish Institute of Religion in New York City, who was on my committee, but Josh, your grandfather of blessed memory, Paul Steinberg. He was dean of the college when I met him. As I said, he served on my interview committee. He asked a few very tough questions. I still remember them, but they are not for this conversation. He was as well a classroom instructor. His face, his name were known around HUC as he served as dean for 50 years, the longest single person serving in the seminary. And so years before I even knew anything about the Steinberg family, I was part of your family. In fact, his signature is right over my desk on my smicha, the certificate of my ordination. And we figured out, Josh, that the year you were born was the year I was ordained. So that was, I don't know if it's the same, not quite the same day, but a few months. So somehow we have been brought to this moment with the Steinbergs. My story with the Weinbergs began right here in this very building when I was the rabbi educator, some not quite 30 years ago. We figured about 29 years ago. And Sanford of blessed memory was sitting in his classroom, classroom number 1. Those of you who can picture him there, always ready, always prepared for class, even before the principal got into the building sometimes. And of course, the years have progressed. And with the Weinbergs, I have shared some of the most poignant and wonderful moments. The tough ones and the real celebrations. And though we don't always talk every year, somehow our lives just keep overlapping. Abbie, you and my daughter Deborah were in religious school in the library room. And Nathan, I always remember your birthday because your bris was the same day my son was born. And Sandy and Sanford and Eve and Andrew were teachers here in this congregation. And Abbie, your dad's assistant, that was after my time here. When I tell you I have treasured our friendship and our professional relationship, words don't really capture it. And I thank you. You've been with me through tough months too. It's supposed to be the parents who cry. I'm so sorry. And so it is indeed my honor to be here with all of you. Back in the narrative of Genesis, after Jacob began his journey, he stopped for the night as the sun set, and with rocks as a pillow, he slept under the stars. And in his sleep, he had a dream. And in his dream, there was a ladder set on the ground and its top reaching towards the heavens. The Torah tells us that angels of God were going up and down the ladder. And what's interesting, of course, about the Torah is every word is intentional. And so when I say they were going up and down, that is the exact phrase in Hebrew. And that's interesting because usually we think of angels in the heavens above us, in which case they would come down and then go up. But indeed, these angels started on earth and then ascended. Jacob's ladder teaches us such an important lesson. Abbie and Josh, sometimes it can feel that angels are only beings of the ancient world or the faraway places of fairy tales. We only need to look back to the months and years of planning this day to see a world that sometimes feels devoid of angels. Between COVID and politics, the environment, and just plain old crazy people, the world can feel overwhelming and chaotic. That is until we find our own angels, our own beloved ones, with whom we will walk the paths, who will bring us strength and love. Angels who take steps with us, one at a time, with whom we see the world full of possibility and meaning. Abbie and Josh, with your families surrounding you, with the memories of Talesim above you, with family and friends as witnesses. We can all agree, I think, that you are each other's angels. You stand side by side today, as I know you will walk out beyond this chuppah together, side by side. You will climb up and down the ladders of life from this day forward. When Jacob awoke from his dream, he declared, Manorah hamakom hazeh, how awesome is this place, this gateway to heaven. We too say this afternoon, Manorah, how awesome is this place. This day, as you stand beneath this chuppah, surrounded by the people who love you the most in this world, we feel God's presence and we see the divine love in what you share. Vayetze, may you go forth from this place into the world ahead, and may that world be filled with the greatest blessings and joys for each of you. As we invite your moms to share some words of blessing.
We thank you, God, for this precious moment. How sweet it is for us to see our children married.
As we rejoice in seeing them stand under the chuppah, we ask that you grant our children full lives and good health.
How can I express what I feel for my beloved child? My heart is full to overflowing.
I remember the anxiety and the joys now as my child joins hands with another on the threshold of a new life.
I pray that the home they establish will be built on firm foundations.
May their love grow deeper through the years, and may their union mature through shared tasks and constant effort.
May the family they create be a strong part of our larger family. God of life, let your divine presence illumine their home and their lives, blessing them with unfailing love. Amen.
Amen.
And so it has been my personal and professional privilege and pleasure to share this moment with you. And now it is the greatest honor I have to announce in front of this community of loving witnesses, since both of you have joined in this ceremony abiding by the laws of the state of New York and acting in accordance with the laws of Moses and Israel, our people, you are now married. And I will wrap you just a few more moments. As I mentioned, there are 3 taluses above from family history, and now talus that Josh wore at Bar Mitzvah.
You grew a little.
Thanks.
You're good. You're good. I share now the words of the priestly benediction. Yevarechacha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May the Lord bless you and guard you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha. May the Lord show you favor and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May the Lord show you kindness and grant you peace. Amen. Amen. And we end the ceremony with we end the ceremony with the breaking of the glass. Of course, there are many explanations as to why we break the glass. Thank you, Dad. Little talus folding up here. Some explain that at moments of our greatest joy, we should remember that there have been times in our people's history that have been full of sadness and destruction. I would like to say that the world is broken around us, and that the two of you together will be partners in God's fixing and repairing the world. Josh, what is it? It's a very heavy duty glass. Here's your heel. Mazel
Come on, one more.
married. Oh, thank you, Carolina.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh.